Hello and a very warm welcome to our newest Yota Online session, number 11 today. My name is Philip, Delta Kilo 6 Sierra Papa from Germany, and I'm the International Amateur Radio Region 1 Youth Working Group Chair. I want to welcome you here to this newest session where we will talk about jamborees and scouts. And if you have any questions during the session, feel free to just comment on our live streams here on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. And our IT team in the background will gather them together and we will forward them directly to our guests today. So if you fancy to know anything about jamborees or scouts in particular and their work within amateur radio, just let us know and we will forward these questions to our guests today. So what is the agenda? So at first, we will want to introduce you why we do this Yota Online. We will feature the event circumstances as well as who are we, the team of Yota Online. We will introduce you to our guests today, three awesome people and youngsters from Yota. Further, we will talk about Jota, Joti, and IRC program, then Scouts and Hamradio and their projects together with our guests. Then the question and answer session with our guests will follow. We will have a nice Yota presentation, Yota Riddle today as well, where you can win an ICO merch package as well as a Yota hoodie from our official shop. And at the end, we have some announcement for you regarding Yota Online. And so this will be our agenda today. And I will hand over to Wilma, Oscar Hotel 2, Victor Tango from Finland, for the upcoming slides. So go ahead.
Thank you, Philip. So first, why Yota Online? Yota Online was established for two reasons. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, several camps had to be cancelled or postponed. And still, lots of youngsters want to join Yota activities each year. So we wanted to create the interactive format to gather youngsters on regular basis. Then the event circumstances. Okay. Yota Online is open for anyone around the world online, and it's free. Every session will be talking about specific topics, including following Q&A session, answer your questions regarding Yota topics, and we'll have a prize drawing. Also, we will have special prizes for loyal viewers after several Yota Online events. Events will be lasting to around an hour to 1.5 hours every last Thursday of the month. Who are we? The team behind Yota Online is a team within the working group, IARU Region 1 working group. We have Claudia, Philip, Marcus from Germany. Then we have Wilma, I, and Ottawa from Finland. We have Martina from Czech Republic, Peter and Jentel from Belgium. And today's guests, we have Marilyn, and she will be talking about Yota activities and how to participate in Yota activities. Then we have Gustav, Sierra Alpha 7 Golf Golf Oscar, and he will be talking about Yota Yoti activities and IRC activities. Then we have Reetta, who OH1 Echo Bravo United, and she will be talking about how Radio Scouts operated from Finnish camp Roihu in 2016. Thank you.
Yeah, many thanks, Wilma, for introducing. I will now introduce you also the Yota Riddle. So also this time we actually have two riddles. One will be during the session, so listen to the question carefully and then also listen to the presentations carefully because you're going to find the answers right in this session. And then we're going to have a second riddle which you will be solving afterwards. We will give you some time for this and you can win some nice prizes. How do we get here? Finally, yeah, by just filling in the form from the QR code with the correct answers, and we will also share the links in the chats. And prizes in these sessions are going to be some nice icon merges, and also, as Philip mentioned, a Yota hoodie from our shop. So yeah, one will be for the riddle within this session, so listen carefully. And in the end, I'm going to present you the second riddle where you can win the second prize. Yeah, so let's look at the riddle within the session. We want to know which is the channel in the DMR Brandmeister talk group for Jamborees on the air. So the DMR Brandmeister talk groups, there are talk groups for a lot of different activities, and there is also one for Jamborees on the air. And we want to know which is this channel. So there's a number presenting this channel, and we want to know which is it. And we want to have the main channel, by the way, so there are also subgroups, but we want the overall main channel. Yeah, so listen carefully to our presentations, and also remember in the end I'm going to present the second riddle. But for this session right now, when you're joining live, you can you just should listen for this riddle. So what is the DMR Brandmeister talk group for Jamborees on the air? And also remember, if you do have any questions, please feel free to write in the live chat. We're going to watch the chat and then answering all the questions afterwards in the end of the session. And also for the first question, I can shortly already tell you that this session is live, but we're also going to record it and upload it later, of course, so you can rewatch it. But yeah, of course, feel free to ask the questions, but finally, let's continue with the actual session today. So I'm going to hand over to Gustav, who will tell us about Yota Yoti in the IRC.
Thank you very much, Claudia. I will get my presentation up as well. I'm going to tell you all about the Yota activity and the big Jamboree in the Air Camp, which is held in October every year. But I will start a little bit by telling you a bit about the Scout movement in general. So worldwide, there are about 50 million Scouts at the moment. And there are, if we talk about the people who have throughout their lives been Scouts, but are not anymore active, there are about 500 million people now living who have experienced that. And in the movement, there are two main organizations. It's the WUSM and it's WAGGS. And their WUSM is the international organization for Scouts in general, and then because of the historic views on things, there is also a Scout movement for girls. So the WAGS is for Girl Scouts around the world, and WUSM is for Girl Scouts as well as Boy Scouts. So the movement mainly focuses on young people aged at about 7 to 20 years, but it's a little bit, it's not like there's one limit of age, so it's a bit of a variation between the ages. And so so how do I get involved in the Scout group? Well, there are in most countries a sub-organization of those WUSM and WAGS, and there are, from these sub-organization, there are then subgroups. So you should, in most cases, be able to find a local scout group. And there are also many scout groups actively looking for radio amateurs because there are Yota, and there is also other activities where a radio can be fitting. In general, you can say that a radio amateur is kind of a scout already and could then find the other parts in scouting. So even if you are too old to be like a scout as a kid, there could be a rover group, which is a group of scouts aged about 20 and above. And if there are no rover group, I'm sure that leaders are appreciated in your local area. And I'm also sure that other adults helping out with stuff, because in general, when you bring a lot of kids together, there's also always a lot of stuff that needs to be fixed. So for the Jamboree on the Air, which is the event that we are mainly focusing on, you need to find a scout group, which can normally be found in the local area. And you also need to have an empty calendar at the third week in October. And that is mainly made by not booking that weekend. So just keep that weekend free. And then, of course, you will need a radio. And most activity during the Jamboree on the Air is conducted through HF radio. There are some quizzes, and there are a lot of activity with playing, for example, battleships over the air. I've also heard scouts playing chess on the air. So there are plenty of activities that are held on the HF bands. And if you don't have an HF radio and you are organizing a small event, then of course, if you have a DMR radio, there is a Brandmeister talk group, which is talk group 907. So there you can join. And during this third weekend in October, there is always a lot of activity. Then, of course, you will also need a suitable location. And that is usually no problem because, as written here, scouts are by natural means quite happy to find a location, and they are also quite happy to make a location good if it's not good from the beginning. And yeah, okay, yeah. So that's basically what you need for the Jamboree on the Air. And then there's also Yoti, Jamboree on the Internet. So during this camp, there is always a lot of scouts that don't have the opportunity to participate over the radio. So for those, since somewhere in the 90s, there is an activity called Yoti. And Yoti stands for Jamboree on the Internet. And that's held in the Internet Relay Chat, IRC, which is a simple chat system that was invented in 1988. And it is indeed a very simple chat system. It is text only. You will only send messages. You will use a nickname. You will basically just send text messages. It's that kind of a system where you still use those emojis only containing normal characters. So it's a very non-fancy chat system. So that is what they use for IRC. I'm sure that there are computer people out there who can explain the system way better than I can, but this is the basics of it, at least. And to get started with that, that's actually even easier than getting started with the Jamboree on the Air. You will have to find a computer or a phone, and if you're watching this now, I'm sure that you have either one of those. And you will download one of the suitable clients, and then you are kind of good to go. For Linux, I will recommend WeChat and HexChat. And for Windows, I will recommend MIRC and HexChat. So the HexChat client is available for both of those. And that's basically it, because if you have those, then you are good to go. You will, of course, also need an internet connection. But since you're only sending text messages and no fancy stuff, and of course, nothing fancy, and always simple text without any fancy Unicode, or it's Unicode characters, but no fancy Unicode emojis or something. It will get through very easy. There is no unnecessary data usage in this system. And then you connect to a server and you join a channel, and then you are in the chat. So if you are not a scout and you still want to use the IRC, there are plenty of channels also next to these events. So and that's why I wanted to take this up in this presentation as well, because there is some radio-related channels and there are also less radio-related channels, for example, on programming and all this other stuff that radio amateurs tend to do when not sitting by the radio. So I will give a shout out to the Whiskey 8 IRC, which is a scout, which is not a scout, which is a radio amateur chat group on the server Freenode. So if you are getting into the IRC right now at the moment, sitting there trying just to join something to discuss amateur radio, then you can of course join the Whiskey 8 IRC on chat.freenode.net. And there's also the RedditNet channel on chat.geekshed.net. And where to fill in all those parts you will understand when you download the software. And to the RedditNet group, there is also a Reddit. There is also a Reddit subreddit, which is called R Amateur Radio. And then, of course, you can, for the next Yota Yoti, which will be held on the third weekend of October, you can, of course, join your local scout group. And I hope that I get to see you there, because the more we are on the HF band, the more we spread the word about youth in amateur radio, and also we spread the word about scouting. So it's really nice to see the activity when it just explodes on the start of the event. So, and the Q&A will, as usual, be held at the end of the session. And by saying that, I thank you very much for listening, and I leave the mic to somebody else.
Thank you, Gustav. Thanks for all the information, and now you should be able to actually fill in the first Yota Riddle question. So if you listen carefully, you're able to win a nice prize. So I just want to remind you, we already posted the link and to the online form where you can just fill in the information. You don't have to wait until the second riddle is announced, so just feel free to fill in the first blank already, and we will get the winners at the end of the session. So we will go ahead with our second guest tonight. The second guest will be from the Netherlands, and I will just hand over the microphone to you, Marjolein, and she's going to talk about the Scouts in Hamradio. So go ahead.
Thank you, Philip. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. This one. Okay, so Gustav already told a bit about Yota, and I'm going a bit deeper in it. So there are multiple activities you can do at the Yota, like build a tower for the antenna. You can do this with ages 16 and above, so you can show other scouts group like, whoa, I can do this, or other amateurs like, whoa, this is super cool. You could do a fox hunt with transceivers of transmitters and receivers, and you can search multiple things. You could do soldering. There are multiple kits and in the Netherlands, and this year we don't know what it is yet, but we had a Morse key, a laser game, and electric dice, and a few more. The main thing of Yota is, of course, contacting other scouts. So that's also an activity. Here radio amateurs can help to let the scouts participate in the Yota. There are different kinds of signaling games. So you could do chess with Morse code, flag signs, NATO alphabet, and other kinds of communications. It's very wide. You can learn scouts about Hamradio just to get to know Hamradio a little bit, and maybe they'll be that interested that they'll move forward with it, and then maybe we'll have some youngsters. And of course, the last one is that everything relates to the Hamradio with Yota. So it's up to your own imagination with what kind of activities you want to do with connecting Hamradio and scouts. So the relation to Hamradio is that Yota is designed to get scouts actually interested in Hamradio and let them to get to know it. And one of the activities was, of course, contacting. So that would be in radio. With some games, you may get some scouts interested and continue ham. Maybe they'll also convince others that it's really fun. And yeah, we'll get some youngsters. How can you participate? Well, just ask around scouts groups, local scouts groups. And what if they don't know what it is? Well, try and explain it to them. Like, what can you do for them and how can they participate in the Yota? And if they don't want you, well, you can stay at home and you can try and make contact with other Yota stations around the world and help those children making contact. And well, that's it. So questions and answers are later.
Thank you, Marilyn. As you said, questions. If you have any questions regarding today's topic or Yota in general, so the Youngsters on the Air program or the Jamborees on the Air program today. So just comment now on the live streams and we will be happy to answer them if possible live on the session. So we also have a third guest tonight where you can also ask questions in the rear part of the session. So I want to hand over the microphone to Reta from Finland, and she will also be talking about a Yota activity within Finland in 2016. So microphone to you, Reta. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Philip. And I will also share my screen to you. So, as Philip mentioned, my name is Reta, Oscar Hotel 1, Echo Bravo Oscar, and I will tell you a bit about our camp project, Roihu 2016, and we had a radio amateur station, Oscar Hotel 2 Sierra, at the camp. And in the first picture, you can see the QSL card we had from the camp, and I will first tell you a bit in general about the camp. So Roihu 2016 was a national jamboree in Finland that was held in July. And a jamboree is the general name for big scout camps. And this one was a Finn jamboree as it was held in Finland. In Roihu, we had about 17,000 participants. 15,000 of those were from Finland, and we had 2,000 wonderful international guests from all around the world. And the camp was for 12-year-old scouts and older than that. But we also had a family camp, which meant that the youngest participants at the camp were only babies still. But if I move forward to the actual radio amateur station, here in the picture you can see all the radio amateurs or radio scouts who are participating at the camp. This is from our radio scout meeting. And in this picture we have about 25 people, and our actual radio station team included approximately 10 people. And our team consisted radio scouts from Finland, the Netherlands, Germany, and the USA. And in addition to that, we had Australian radio amateurs also who came to this meeting. And about the team was led by Annina, Oscar Hotel 1 Echo November Echo, and she was back then 19, and I was the vice leader for the station. I think I was 21 or so. So the idea in Scouts in general is that the youngsters take the responsibility or take the lead, and the adults support. And this is also what we had the opportunity to experience at Roihu. So we had a great team behind us, and we had good support. About the team, it wasn't difficult actually to get the team together, because we had such wonderful international eager radio scouts who I think are at the moment also watching this show. So our friends directly contacted us and told us that, hey, we are coming to Roihu and we definitely want to be part of the radio station team. Can we come? And we said, of course, welcome. And we had about 10 people there, and we shared the shifts for each day. So because the camp lasted for 9 days, so that not everyone had to be at the station each day. We had three people per 1 day at shift. And about the station itself, it was located in this army style dark green tent, which was because it was a hot summer back then. It was really hot and really dark, so not the best choice, but we had fun time there and we managed well. At the station, we had 3 HF stations, and we also at the camp used VHF 2 meters for contacting or keeping contact with each other. And I think some people from the nearby who are living nearby the campsite also made contact with us. We also had used digital modes and DMR, and also made some Echolink contacts as well. And about the station, we were part of the, or we were a pop-up, I would say pop-up station, or pop-up part of the program. So the actual radio amateur station wasn't part of any program valleys at the camp, but we were open during the day so that everyone who walked by could come and stop by to see what we were doing there. And the station was located just next to the main road that was in the middle of the campsite, so it was a really good spot for us to be there, and we had many eager visitors there. On that summer, we had quite bad propagation overall during the camp, and when I was comparing the number of QSOs we made there on HF, it was I think we doubled the number only 2 years before that at the same place when we had our regional scout camp there. So, but it was great fun, and it was very nice to have eager people to come and make QSOs and get to know what radio amateuring is and what radio scouting is. We also had other activities, as the others already also mentioned. So we had some fox hunting on one day. Then it became a big hit, this Morse code training that was developed at the camp. So during the visitors' day, I think it was that when we had many people at the camp. we had this station where you could stop by, and if you learned to give your own name on Morse code, you got a diploma for that. So people got excited about that, and it was great fun. On top of that, we had the family camp at the camp. So we organized for one day. We organized some program for the small kids who were like perhaps from years 5 to 10, and we had a Lego game for them, so that the other group built something out of Legos, and they had PMR radios, and they explained what they just built to the other group, and the small kids were very excited about that, and they got to know the basics of what it is to communicate with the radio. So that was great fun. The next picture, we have our next Finn Jamboree Kajo next year, hopefully 2022. And we are also planning to have a radio amateur station there, as we have had during Finn Jamborees. So it's a great tradition, at least in Finland. I know in many other countries too, that on the big Jamboree camps or on the regional bigger camps, radio scouts organize a radio amateur station at the camp. And that is our plan for the next one too. So Kajo will be organized most likely in the same place as Roihu was, so in the southern Finland. And there is no station chief yet for the radio amateur station for Kajo, but we are looking for that person or those people, and then we want to have all the eager radio scouts and other interested scouts to participate and to come and enjoy Finland, and if you are radio amateur, then join the radio station group also. But yes, I think that was all. I'd like to thank you, and I hope to see you in the future with radio scouting activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Really nice pictures to see from the camp, and we hope that there will be some big amateur radio involvement within your camp in 2022. So let's hope that will take place. And yeah, so these have been our 3 guests for tonight. So just a slight reminder for you all watching this session tonight. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them now in the chats. We already got some direct messages on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So we will have some questions within the next few minutes. But firstly, I want to get the microphone to Claudia, Delta Charlie 2 Charlie Lima from Germany, who will remind you of the ongoing Yota Riddle for the last time, for the first one at least, for the last time tonight. So Claudia, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Many thanks, Philip. So of course, please, guys, remember that we also still have the Yota Riddle. So you have still 2 to 3 minutes left to fill in the form. Remember that this time you can win nice prizes. So we have the ICOM merch and also our Yota hoodie. And to remind you of the current riddle, which is just 2 to 3 minutes left for you to fill in, is what is the DMR Brandmeister talk group for the Jamborees on the air? So we're looking for the channel for the Jamborees on the air, DMR Brandmeister talk group, and we want to know the main channel. Yeah, that's it basically. So please fill in this in the form, answering these questions, and then at the end of the session we're going to announce the winners. So we're going to draw first, of course, from all the correct solutions, and then we're going to announce the winners. And I will tell you later about the second riddle we're going to have over this weekend. But first of all, let's get finally to the Q&A session from today's session, so about Scouts in Hamradio. So also please feel free to still ask the questions if you do have one. And yeah, I would say let's just ask. I hope Gustav, Marilyn, and Greta, you're ready to also answer some questions. So for the beginning, I do have one which is like, is there any way on identifying scout stations by call sign? So I remember, I think in Finland, it was for the camp, it was Oscar Hotel 2 Sierra. That was the radio station, radio call sign, right? So is there like, can those call signs be like completely free? Can every call sign basically, could that be a scout station? Or is there also sometimes a call sign probably which ends with Juliet, Oscar, Tango, Alpha or something? So is there a way on identifying scout stations by call signs?
Yeah, I can reply to that. In Finland, we have about a bit over 10 radio amateur call signs that are in the use of our national organization. So local scout groups can like ask, can we use this call sign for our activity, for example, during Jamboree on the Air weekend, and then they can use the call sign. We have call signs that end Sierra Uniform Foxtrot, and we have those from 0 to 9. And on top of that, we have a couple of those that end with only Sierra, and also Oscar Hotel 2 Juliet Alpha Mike, so Jam. But in general, I think there is no way to like directly know that this is a scout call. But in some there can be some hints for that in the call sign. And during Jamboree on the Air, we use you can use the stroke Jamboree on your call, so you know that that's a scout station.
Yeah. Okay, great. Are you also like, when you're calling CQ with, for example, Oscar Hotel 2 Sierra, are you then also like sometimes reminding that this is the scout station? So can you probably also, are you sometimes like, saying this during the CQ calling or something that people will also know? Or is it more kind of like you're secretly, so could it happen that we secretly work some scout stations without knowing they're scouts, or are scouts often mentioning this?
I think at least when I'm making QSOs from a scout station or from scout event, I usually always mention that it's a scout station. We have a scout activity. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. That's great. That's good to know. How is it for Gustav or Mario-Lynn? Are you also like, what are your or do you remember the call signs from your scouts events? And do you also have the feeling that the scouts often mentioning that it's scouts, so that we know that it's scouts? Because like, for example, with Yota, we often have the Yankee Oscar Tango Alpha in the end, so you can spot this by call sign. So how is for Gustav or Mario-Lynn?
For in the Netherlands, it's just stroke Yota. There are many scout groups who use a call, so there's not really a specific call for a certain group. So it's just stroke Yota after the call.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Gustav, is there also a way in Sweden?
Well, let's say that in general, Swedish stations use stroke. They have the normal call sign and then stroke Juliet Alpha Mike, especially on CW. Then sometimes on SSB, there is the small reminder like, "Hey, this is a Yota station," and then of course, which you of course don't transmit on CW. So then there are a couple of official Jamboree stations. I actually looked them up here very quickly. So all the numbers Sierra Kilo 0 to 7, Juliet Alpha Mike, are reserved for Jamboree on the Air. So they can also be active and are usually active. So then one station in each district of Sweden gets to man the jam station of that district every year. So that's how it is here in Sweden.
Okay, great. Many thanks. I also have another question, which probably I think Gustav, you can probably answer this. Are there also the diplomas on working scouts or the Jamboree on the Air stations, like Hamradio diplomas? I mean.
Well, it's nice to hear that you think that I can answer that, which I can't really. But there are some stations do send QSL. I have quite a lot of QSL cards from scout stations, so that's something that you can collect. Then I don't know whether there is a diploma for non-Yota stations, although there are those quiz things that you do during the camp, and on those you can then get some kind of diploma or prize, prize-ish thing.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Mario, Lynn, or Rita, do you probably know if there are also diplomas in like Hamradio diplomas for the scouts?
As far as I know, in the Netherlands, there's none.
Okay.
In Finland, we have actually it's called a SUF award, but I think the instructions for it are missing somewhere in the internet, and we gotta find them and put them somewhere where they can be found. But there is one in Finland.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. That's great to hear. But yeah, at least as Gustav also said, we can of course also just collect the QSL cards. That's probably also a lot of fun to get a lot of different QSL cards from a lot of different a lot of different scouts or Jamboree on the Air stations. Yeah. Martina, do you also have some other questions?
Yeah, I have one, and the question is, what's your favorite part about Yota or Scouts and Hamradio in general? So, Gustav, are you ready to answer this?
I am ready. That one I can actually answer. So my favorite part is probably when you get those really young scouts, because I'm not a scout leader normally, but I'm like half leader in the Yota activities. So, and it's very nice to get those really young scouts when they're about 7 years old. It's the first time that they hold a microphone, and it's maybe also the first time that they speak any English to a foreigner. And then it's really nice to be there, seeing them doing that, making that development over a weekend. So they come there, they are a bit shy, they don't really know, oh, should I press the button? Should I let the button go? May I talk now? How do I do this? And then after a weekend, they are operating the station almost by themselves with somebody else just looking over their shoulder. And that's really nice to see.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Marilyn?
Well, I think I've got the same like Gustav. So, yeah, just watching others struggle a bit with the radio, and yeah, just see them learn how to operate it.
Okay. And Reda?
Yeah, I think I have to agree with the others. It's really a great thing to see the young kids like get the spark when they take their microphone for the first time, and they like they win themselves by taking the microphone and talking there. But I must admit or add something and say that I really like these kind of field day activities also when you just take a QRP station and go into the forest and just put up the station and have fun with by making QSOs with your scout group. So that's also very fun.
Yeah. I think I can continue with another question, and that's how did you become a scout, or is it is there any connection with the scout? How did you get to Yota, now Yota, and Hamradio? I think Gustav can start again.
Yeah, so I actually joined the Scouts when I was 7 years old, and then I was a Scout for a couple of years, and then I decided that there were other things in life that were more fun to do at that moment. So I left the Scouts, and then in between there somewhere I became a radio amateur. I was a Sea Scout for a while, and then after some years I decided that I really missed the part of doing something in a bigger group. So then I decided to rejoin the Scouts, and I realized that if you're a radio amateur and you want to join a Scout group, there were like 5 Scout groups in my town reaching out for oh, can you help us during Yota Yoti? Can you please? We want to. And yeah, so then I rejoined and I became half leader for the group.
Kind of complicated journey, I'd say. Marlene?
Well, I started Scouts when I was 10, and yeah, well, a few group leaders of mine, they showed me Yota and did it with our group, and then I felt already it was pretty fun. And I didn't do anything till I was 13 or something. And then they said oh yeah, do something with it. It was Papa India for Romeo Shera, just so they know. And yeah, they kind of pushed me into it, and I actually like it. So that's actually my story.
Okay, cool. Reda?
Yeah, I continue the line by saying that I started in Scouts when I was 7 years old, and I've been a Scout since that. So I think 19 years already. But I got to know radio amateur and radio scouting when I attended Jamboree on the Air. And it was actually that a group of my age was, or their leaders had to drop by for a year, and this substitute leader came to lead them, and he was a radio amateur, and he started to teach the boys about the radio activities, and they participated Jamboree on the Air, and it took me 4 years. Every year I went to that place where they participated Jamboree on the Air, and on the 4th year someone mentioned that, hey, we have a radio amateur course coming before Christmas, and I was like, yeah, maybe I should go there and participate, and and then I became a radio amateur, and that was, I think, 7 years ago or so, maybe more. And I remember when I was making my first ever QSO, I was thinking oh my God, what is this? I will never become a radio amateur. And here we are. So things happen.
Yeah. Many thanks for sharing your stories. And Claudia, is there anything else?
Yeah, well, probably, I think Rita already mentioned this one, if there are also classes to obtain a license, because I can imagine that probably, the Scouts are getting interested also in radio. And if you want to do the radio on your own, then you have to get a license. So it's really great to know about your story, Rita. So yeah, that's pretty cool to know that there are also Scouts coming to Hamradio through through these activities. That's really nice. So yeah, probably we already have answered this question. That I guess yes, there are classes also for the Scouts. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, I also do have one other question. Do also like if you're on your regular trips with Scouts, do you then also sometimes set up a radio station? Because you mentioned you have like the big when you have some of the bigger events, you do this, for example, for the huge Yota event, but probably also sometimes if you're just in your small local group, are then also sometimes getting on the air?
Yeah, definitely. I think if the leader or someone who comes to the camp is a radio amateur, then it's definitely one option for the program for camps, whether they are smaller or bigger. And I think one great opportunity, especially for Scouts, is the flora fauna activity, that where you go to, for example, national park or some other nature target which has the flora fauna number, and you can activate the park, for example, where you are going on a hike. So that's definitely an option.
Okay, that's great. That's also nice. So yeah, probably we can also just work some of these guys then. Well, I do have also another question. You also have, I think it's called like badges. What like the Scouts do collect. Like a lot of these, I think it's called badges on their T-shirts and on their outfits. Are there also some of these things for, I don't know, some kind of radio activation, for example? If you guys know what I mean.
Well, in the Netherlands we do have one, and that's a specializing badge for the radio techniques and a bit of information behind it.
Okay, so at least something somehow related to radio. That's cool. Yeah. So that's probably Netherlands specific. How is it in Sweden or Finland? Are there also probably some things like that?
In Sweden, we actually have a badge. So there are two different specialized categories in scouting. So it's the Sea Scouts, and then since a couple of years back, there is actually a Radio Scout badge now. So we have a Radio Scout badge, but it's unfortunately too uncommon. So we are working on spreading that out.
That's great. That's great. I'll also keep my fingers crossed that hopefully soon a lot of Scouts can get this, or can get this. How about Finland, Rita?
Yeah, we do have some badges. Each year we have or together the Nordic countries make a specific badge for Jamboree on the Air, Jamboree on the Internet weekend, and also we have this radio scouting like activity badge. But actually, I just talked with our Yota coordinator this week, and he mentioned that they are starting to plan this kind of badge, which includes different kind of activities, and you can collect them, and it has different levels for youngsters and for older ones too. And we are taking the model for this from the Danish radio scouts, who have this four level badge that you can collect each piece and then combine them.
Yeah, that's great. And it's also super cool to hear that it's also different from in between the countries, but that also like the countries support each other and helping out and getting the ideas around. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty great. Great to hear. Yeah, so I think I'm also done with the questions. I don't know if Martina, if you have any left. Otherwise, I'm going to hand over to Philip again.
I don't see any, so I think it's turn for Philip.
Okay, so thank you, everybody. Thanks to our guests again. Really great to see so much activity within the Jamborees on the air. And if we could get your interest with the amateur radio part, if you're a scout and if you're not doing the radio activities for yourself already, feel free to contact us as well. So we are here for the amateur radio part as well. So Jamborees on the air and Youngsters on the air is going for the same target. So if you want to do radio and your local club isn't doing it, feel free to contact us and we try to get them involved as well. So thank you again to our guests tonight. And I think we have already a winner for the first Yota Online riddle. Marcus, Delta Lima 8 Golf Mike, go ahead.
Yes, all right, I think that's the right screen shared. I hope so, at least. So the first riddle, the one to be resolved during the session, was asking for the talk group for Yota DMR, Jamborees on the Air DMR group on the Brandmeister DMR network. As we've been told during the presentation, that is talk group 907, which everyone submitting got correct. So congrats to everybody that submitted it. And the icon merge package will go to Flutura Zulu 63 Fox Alpha Sierra. So congratulations to Kosovo. You will be, we will get in contact with you and then ship you a icon merge package consisting of cap, mask, drawer organizer, USB stick, and a bunch of lanyards. And yes, that's it from my, regarding that riddle at least. The other riddle that's gonna be coming up, I think we got the order mixed up actually. This one is going to be given away after this session. Claudia will, I guess, present the riddle now that you'll have to solve afterwards, and will also announce the deadline. So you'll have some time, a few days probably, to submit your solution to that one. And thus we can only determine the winner afterwards as well. And yeah, that winner will be getting a Yota hoodie from our official merch store. All right, and that thus back to...
Yes, to me. You're right, Marcus. So as he just said, there's still the riddle for the Yota hoodie missing. So let's also look at the riddle for after the session. So you're going to have time for this until Sunday, the 28th of March, until 23:59 UTC. And yeah, what we want to know is we're looking for a special call sign. So and to get to this call sign, probably you can also, to make sure you got the right call sign, check out what's behind the call sign and what it is. Then you will hopefully also get to something which is somehow Scout and Jamboree related. And yeah, so how to get to the call sign? You have to you have to kind of do some do two kind of sub quizzes, and the first one is within which band are 5.3 megahertz. So yeah, try to guess, or probably you know the band. If not, you can also, of course, calculate kind of the band, and we want to have this band in Roman numerals. So yeah, convert 5.3 megahertz the band into Roman numerals, and you will get the first two characters of the call sign, so the first two orange ones. And yeah, the second one is about this picture you can see here. So we want to know the ITU zone and the first letter of the name of the XCC. And yeah, so you can see the picture, you can see the shape of the XCC, and we want to know the ITU zone, and the first letter of the name of this DXCC. So yeah, good luck. Try to find out what's behind this picture, and yeah, you in the end just push all this together. So you first get 2 characters from the Roman numerals, then you will get another character from the ITU zone, and the first letter then of the name. Squeeze them together, and you will get to a short call sign. And yeah, good luck. And remember to send us your solution until Sunday midnight UTC. And yeah, that's it for the second riddle. I wish you good luck to win one of the nice Yota hoodies. And finally, I will hand over once more to Philip for closing the session.
Thank you, Claudia. And probably one small hint, as the whole session is about scouts and jamborees on the air, probably also this riddle too has something in common with that. So this is the tip, the hint from our crew. So let's see who gets this, and we will post the slide of the riddle itself after the session as well. So yeah, feel free to answer this kind of nice riddle. So find the DXCC, get the call sign together, and there we go. So now we get to one of the last topics for tonight, a short Yota Online update. As you all know, we have successfully done 11 sessions now. This initially started with the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic worldwide as a kind of a substitute for our Yota camps. But we already have 11 sessions. So we have to announce that the next session on the 29th of April 2021 will be the last session of this current monthly format. I say the current monthly format. I will come into detail in a second, but during the next session on the 29th of April, we will also have a big ICOM radio prize draw sponsored by ICOM. So we will give away at least one HF radio, and so one shortwave radio from ICOM, sponsored by ICOM. And we will announce the exact prices once we get closer to the next session. So stay tuned for this. And the Yota Online, as I said before, will not end by the 12th session, but it will still be around. So we will introduce new interactive sessions. As we saw from your feedback around 2-3 weeks ago, we started a campaign on our social medias where we asked what it has to be that you will participate further in those events. So we want to create some interactive sessions. For the beginning, we scheduled this to be every 2 months, and if there's big interest in these, we can still negotiate if it's necessary to hold these every month. But for the beginning, the first session is planned for June 2021. On the format itself, we will keep you updated. The International Amateur Radio Union Region 1 Youth Working Group is currently working out the concept for this new type of the sessions, where we also interact with the viewers. And so it's kind of a big call, probably, about technical topics, about contests, about Jota, about SOTA, about IOTA, about whatever. And we will talk with you together and also have guests then and see what we can do there. But we're still negotiating some details and come back to our community once we figured everything out and have chosen the right platform to do so. And therefore, yeah, stay tuned. The next session will be the last session of this current monthly format. So keep in mind the 29th of April 2021, together with the big ICOM HF radio giveaway. So this is the Yota Online update. Then we also have some upcoming events. As I mentioned, that's the Yota Online session number 12. So we are doing this for 1 year now, 12 months. Regarding the announcements of the last session number 10, there was a Yota camp held in New Zealand recently. They have been really active on the bands as Zulu Lima 6, Yankee Oscar Tango Alpha, Youngsters on the Air, camp station from New Zealand. Some were lucky from Region 1 to work them on 20 and 40 meters. They had a huge success getting youngsters involved into their camp. So there's hope for camps being active on the bands. So New Zealand was there, and let's hope that we can continue somewhere soon with our camps as well. But for now, everybody knows what the situation is all about. So it's unpredictable, and for now, as you all know, our camps will not take place, and so we as the youth working group, together with the executive committee of Region 1, will decide in a few months if the camps for this year will take place or not. So this is a decision which has to be made, but we will get in contact with you as soon as we know more. So keep in mind the 29th of April 2021 for the next session, for the last session of Yota Online. These are the upcoming events for now. And there we are already at the session closing. So I want to thank everybody watching here. I saw lots of jamborees and scouts commenting on our live stream. Thanks for being with us tonight. Also got the feedback that lots of those scouts and jamborees all over the world got involved into amateur radio through the Yota program and similar activities. So that is kind of working. So if you feel that you need to get involved into amateur radio, get to do it. This is really a nice thing. So if you have any feedback for us, please follow us on our social media channels on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, even TikTok and Instagram. You see the ads here, so at Hamyota and at Hamyota Official. Just direct message us there or send us an email to pr@ham-yota.com. And we are very happy if you have any feedback. We will also open up a new post asking for any input for this new style Yota Online format. So if you have any ideas how we can do this, how you can get involved and stuff like this, just contact us or comment underneath those posts once they're online by the end of the week. And yeah, that's it for tonight. Also, I want to remind you to follow us on Instagram Reels as well as TikTok, where we have good content to follow soon. So get to follow us there as well. And that's it for tonight. Many thanks for being with us. It was a pleasure having you here. And I want to say 73, which means greetings. And hope to see you next time. Stay safe around the world. And 73 is from the Yota Online team. Bye-bye.